I'm Ralph Freeman. I'll be 102 in 6 weeks. I was born in Chicago, Illinois, and lived there for about 40 years, which included 5 years in the Army during World War II. I was an ordnance officer. I might go back to my senior year in college because that's when I took courses that affected me during my whole life. 3 in particular. One was ROTC, which was taught by 2 Army officers who were in the Ordnance Department. Now, Ordnance Department deals with the procurement, supply, and maintenance of everything the Army and the Air Corps, which was part of the Army at World War II, everything they needed to fight. We passed through various parts of England and stayed in some locations for a short time. During that time at an officers club dance, I met this young lady who I thought was very attractive. She wore glasses all the time, but still looked attractive to me, and I dated her a few times, and then was later transferred over to Northern Ireland. We had no ways of having entertainment at this air base. There were, of course, no TV, and we didn't have any radio. We didn't have access to any books. The only thing we had was have conversation with the fellows in the other rooms, or sit in your own room and look at these pictures that you had on the wall. And I sort of fell in love with the pictures and decided I'm going to have to marry this woman, which I did. I went over to Europe on a Queen Mary, but I came back in a little tiny boat. I forgot what they were called, but they were very small. They rocked front to back in the waves in the Atlantic. We took a southern route. It was winter time. Otherwise, the waves would have been too great for that boat to take. So it took 3 weeks instead of 3 days to come back. And my wife came back in a boat full of war brides a couple of days after I had gone back to the States. My mother was very healthy, and she lived till 97, died in her sleep. And she had a younger sister who lived to 102. So I think that's part of what I inherited. And I've always been healthy, except for a period when I was 14 years old. I developed what they called flu pneumonia. And back at that time, they didn't have the medical treatments for pneumonia that they have now. So I was lucky to survive. I was in bed for 3 weeks. The biggest change is the technological developments over my lifetime, both in automotive, aircraft, and every metallurgical field. The technology has just increased tremendously, a very high rate.